Hello everyone, Berserkhead here, and welcome to this video in which I'm going to be spotlighting, promoting, or just talking about a mod that I really like. It's been a very long time since I've made a video on the topic of mods in the Total War games, and I'm not intending on starting to make such videos again. But this is sort of a special occasion, and I just really want to make a video about this mod because I really like it. So it all started when I wanted to make the Fury of the Norsemen series. I started exploring the Steam workshop for Attila just to see what kind of mods there are, because you know, when you're making something like this, you really need a lot of mods to suit the game to do whatever you want. And primarily I was looking for a good reskin mod because the units in Attila, the vanilla units, just look very gray and dull and boring. So I was really looking for a good reskin mod, and I stumbled upon this one, which is Agrez's reskin mod. And I mean, it's basically a series of mods because you can download all of his work in one, which is going to reskin pretty much every single playable faction in the game, I think with a couple of exceptions. But if you want to reskin just one faction, you can download a mod for this faction specifically. So it's not practically one mod, but you can also download all of his work at once with just one download. So yeah, I met the guy sorta and talked to him on Steam, and he told me that he actually wants to participate in this thing called the annual Total War Mod Awards, which is apparently a thing I didn't know about. But yeah, he just asked me to make a video about his mod and sort of talk about, you know, what kind of stuff he makes. And since I really like his work, I decided to do it. So I figured the best way to do it would be just to talk about his mod and what it does and why I like it so much. So without further ado, let us start. So the first thing to note about his mod is that this is a purely visual piece of work. It's not a unit compilation. As far as I know, Agrez has made a couple of units, but we're not going to be talking about those, and we're going to be talking only about his reskins in this video. So that's one of the things that I like about it. It doesn't, like, his mod doesn't add new units. It's purely cosmetic, and it just messes with the visuals. And the thing that I like about it in particular, like compared to other reskin mods, because I'm fairly sure there are other reskin mods as well on the Steam Workshop, but the thing that I like about this one in particular is the fact that it makes the units look the way they were supposed to look in the first place. So what do I mean by that? As I mentioned earlier, the units in the vanilla game just look very dull and boring and gray, and they lack personality. Whereas in this mod, you can see a lot of attention to detail, and that's the main thing that makes it so good. Because just think about it, the thing that I like about the Total War games and the thing that I like about the real-time battles is that they simulate a real battlefield. And what happens on a battlefield when two armies meet? Those are thousands and thousands of different people that are there fighting for one reason or another, but those are all different people with different personalities, whereas in the game they all look very soulless and without any sort of character, and they basically look the same. There is really no variety, and you're gonna see a lot of twins. Even if you have the game on the highest settings, which should make the units have more variety, you're still gonna see a lot of twins in the army, which is you know, it just lacks detail. Whereas the main thing that Agrez is trying to do with his reskin mods is he's trying to make the units as detailed as possible. This means that you're gonna see a lot more variation in the different individuals in a unit. You know, that means more haircuts, more faces, more different beard styles, like different shields, shield patterns, you name it. There's just gonna be a lot more variation, and it's gonna be far less likely to meet twins in a unit, like models that look exactly the same. Like, that's the thing that really struck me at first when I saw that. There was just a lot more variation when it comes to that, because he's deliberately trying to maximize you know, the different variations and the different ways that a person can look in a single unit. And the other thing that I mean when I say detail is that In the vanilla game, you're rarely gonna see units wearing like pouches, belts, jewelry, and all those things. It's just really rare, and even if it happens, it's just almost insignificant to the point where you really don't pay attention to it. Whereas that's another thing that he's really deliberately trying to do, and that's just making the units have more life and look, you know, just have a little bit more personality to them. Because if you think about it, right, like say you're a Roman soldier and you're gonna march like hundreds and hundreds of miles, right? You're gonna want to take a pouch with you, right? You're gonna bring provisions and stuff like that. But that's, again, something that's lacking in the vanilla game, because there's no detail, and because the soldiers are not represented as different people, but they're just represented as sort of like those lifeless robots, I guess. And that's just another main thing that I really like about this mod. But I always have one concern when I take a look at a reskin mod. Are the units gonna look historically accurate, and are they gonna look at least realistic? Because I've seen a lot of reskin mods that make the units look just ridiculous. Like the most basic units are wearing like sets of armor that is just, you know, ridiculous. It shouldn't be like that. However, that's another thing that I like about Agrez's reskin mod, is that before he actually makes a reskin for a faction or a unit, he actually goes online and makes, you know, at least a little bit of a research to make sure that the unit is going to be accurately represented. Like there are certain units in the game whose weapons or shields or armor has changed just because they weren't accurately represented in the game. Like say there is a certain unit that used a certain type of sword, but it wasn't accurately represented in the game. However, he made a research and he changed it in such a way that they are actually going to use the exact type of sword that they used in real life. Now, does that mean that all the units are 100% historically accurate? No, of course not. Like there's some of the Celtic units that are wearing wind helmets, which is not exactly historically accurate, but still those units are gonna look better than the vanilla units, and overall you're gonna get more historical accuracy from this mod than you're gonna get from the vanilla game. He even made a reskin for West Rome that doesn't aim to make the units more visually pleasing, but it actually aims to make them as historically accurate as possible, which I think is awesome. And if you're into that type of stuff, this is definitely a mod you should download, because you know, the units just look amazing. And another important aspect of this mod is that the faction leaders are reskinned as well, and I think that this is where Agrez just did a particularly good job, because once again, think about it, those people are, you know, they're the nobles. They're as noble as one can be. It doesn't matter if they're a leader of a tribe or an empire. Those people are noble, and they should have more personality than, you know, the regular soldier. Whereas in the vanilla game on the battlefield, it's really sometimes hard to distinguish the general or the faction leader from just the ordinary soldier. And I think he made a particularly good job with that, because all the faction leaders really have a lot more personality to them. I spent a lot of time looking at them, and I just concluded that there is not a single faction leader that actually doesn't look better than his own version in the vanilla. Because, you know, think about those people. They're the leaders, they're kings, they're emperors and whatever, and they should wear, you know, different types of clothing, different types of equipment. They should wear different, you know, more jewelry and stuff like that. And once again, it comes down to all the little details and the attention. You know, they're wearing a lot more rings and a lot more, you know, amulets, and you name it, just all sorts of little things that, you know, those people would actually wear because they're nobles and they're leaders of a certain faction. And that's another thing that I like about this mod. All the faction leaders, without an exception, look absolutely awesome. So to summarize, why I like this mod so much is because it makes things look the way they were supposed to look in the first place. There is just more detail, more historical accuracy, and there is a lot more personality when it comes to the faction leaders and even the individual soldiers on the battlefield, which in my opinion makes this reskin mod the best reskin mod for Total War Attila out there. So yeah, this is gonna be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.